Yes, so we're going to look at incomplete records. This is where businesses who don't follow the double entry system, the owners of the business do not know anything about accounts. They just have the cash book where they record the money they receive and their payments. Right now, you as an accountant, you come in and you help that business determine the profit it has made. So, as I said, it's more like putting a puzzle together. From the little information you have, you are trying to get the profit made by the business. So there are two methods. There's the net worth method. This one you use it when the information is minimal, where you can't even make a income statement for the business. Okay, the information is minimal and you want to get the profit, you use the net worth method. But if there's some adequate information where you can even make an income statement for the for the business, where you're able to determine, okay, what were the sales, purchases, the expenses that were paid, and everything. Then you use the conversion method. Okay, so we'll start with the net worth method. Now, colleagues, if you remember from the balance sheet, okay, on the capital section, all right, you have your capital, which is usually opening capital, plus any additional capital that has been put into the business, plus the profit minus the drawings. This, you usually see this in the balance sheet. Under the capital section, okay, your opening capital plus any additional capital plus profit minus drawings. So this equation here, we're going to make profit the subject of the formula, okay? And if we make profit the subject of the formula, we take profit this side. Or if we take all these over the equal sign, it becomes closing capital minus opening capital minus additional capital plus drawings. Okay. This is the formula that we're going to use, okay, to get our profit. But also this formula here, we can put it in a certain format, all right, like this. Yes. Is that a question? Actually, it's this one here. Incomplete records. Yes. So I meant this formula here can be put like this. Have you seen here? Closing capital at the end, which is your closing capital. Add the drawings, deduct any additional capital, and capital at the beginning, and you get your profit. So this is similar to this, which I've highlighted in yellow. This formula in yellow is the formula I've underlined, the format that I've put down. So you don't need to memorize this. Okay, if you remember how a balance sheet is made, you can always start from this. This is the one which you need to remember in the balance sheet. Then, if you just make profit the subject of the formula, then that's how you get this format. I wouldn't advise memorizing it. It would be kind of hard to memorize. Okay. Yes. So this is the format that we're going to use to calculate our profit. So we're going to look at an example here. All right. You have closing capital of 48,000, opening capital of 12,000, drawings of 5,000. Okay, so the format that we used, capital at the end, 48,000. Then you add the drawings, 48,000 plus 5,000, you get 53,000. Okay, this is your true capital. Before you removed that money for your personal uses, which is the drawings, this is the capital you had, 53,000. All right. Then you subtract the beginning capital, 53,000, minus 12,000, you get 41,000. Yes, yes. Now, do you have any question on this one here? Oh, let me do it. Yes. So the secret here, colleagues, okay? Just remember from the balance sheet, this equation, okay? Then you just make profit the subject of the formula, and that's what is happening here. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now we've got a second example. Closing capital 45,000. Opening capital 5,000. Drawings 3,000. Additional capital 1,500. Find the profit. So you begin again. Capital at the end 45,000. Add drawings 3,000. 45 plus 3,000, 48,000. Subtract additional capital, 46,500. Subtract this 1 5 from there, remain with 46,500. Then you deduct capital at the beginning, which is 5,000. So 46,500 minus 5,000, you get 41,500. Any questions? So, yes, yes. When we rearrange, no additional capital, that's the capital put in during the year. Yes. So, as I said, if you follow the original formula here, okay, your closing capital is your opening capital plus your additional capital plus your profit minus your drawings. Now, if you want to make profit the subject of the formula. So if you make profit the subject of the formula, meaning you take these things over the equal sign. It is closing capital. Let me put drawings this side. Plus drawings minus additional capital. So when you rearrange the formula, Mr. Vincent, that's why we're subtracting additional capital. We've just rearranged the formula. Yes. That's why I'm saying that this this formula is the one which you need to remember. From this formula, this is where everything is happening. Okay. Mhm. This one's the same formula, but yeah, I'll actually put it correctly here. It's rather the same. Yeah. So that's why we are subtracting additional capital, sir. Okay. Now, colleagues, the questions in the exam won't come as easy as this. You will need to tabulate your opening capital, your closing capital. That's where a statement of affairs comes in. Okay, the statement of affairs just helps you get your opening capital and your closing capital. Okay, so the statement of affairs, it's more like a balance sheet. Okay, it operates similar to a balance sheet, helps you get your opening and closing capital. And this statement of affairs uses the accounting equation. Remember the accounting equation? Assets equals liabilities plus capital. Okay. So I'm going to show you how we use the statement of affairs. Okay. But the statement of affairs is just using uh, this accounting equation here. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. That's how you'll be able to get your opening capital and your closing capital. So let me illustrate what I am saying here. This is the way questions will usually come. Okay? Given information about a business, okay, 1st of January, fixed assets, fixtures, 500 kwacha. Current assets, you got your data, 600 kwacha. You got your stock, 2000 kwacha. You got your cash, 250 kwacha. Right? Then you have current liabilities. You have your creditors, 500 kwacha. You've got other payables, 200 kwacha. Okay, that's for at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, fixed assets, 150 kwacha. Current assets, we've got these values here. Current liabilities, we've got these values here. And they tell us Mr. Juma withdrew 500 kwacha from the business on a monthly basis. So the question is asking us, prepare a statement of affairs for 1st January and 31st December. And after that, you need to calculate Mr. Juma's profit. So here what's happening, colleagues, is this statement of affairs for 1st January is going to help us get the opening capital. The statement of affairs of 31st December is going to help us get the closing capital. Once we've got the opening capital and the closing capital, then we can go back to this format which we're using how we're calculating here. Okay, so we make the statement of affairs for the 1st of January. Okay, so we start with our assets. Okay, our fixed assets or non-current assets, 500 kwacha. We add up our current assets, 600 plus 2000 plus 2050. We get two, 2850. So we get our total assets, 2850 plus 500. What's 2850 plus 500? Two thousand eight fifty plus 500, what do we get? I think it should be 3000. Yes, 3350. Yeah. And now we come to our liabilities. Oh, this is for the other year. Okay, our liabilities 500 plus 200. That is 700. Uh-huh. A table. You can make columns, but yes, you can make, okay? You can put two columns, okay? Okay, so our capital, opening capital is assets minus liabilities. So 3000 350 minus 700. Yes, 2650. Remember, as I said, the statement of affairs, we're using the accounting equation. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. Then we make capital the subject of the formula, which is assets minus liabilities. Okay? Yes, that's the formula we're using for the statement of affairs. Okay? Yes. Any questions? Okay, we will now make the statement of affairs for the 31st of December so that we can get to our closing capital. Huh? Mr. Vincent, you're surprised. Uh, Colleagues, just remember, just two formulas to remember. Then you are set with this topic. Just two. Okay. Uh-huh. I said this formula here. Okay. This formula here, which you see in the balance sheet. Okay. So that you can rearrange. Once you know this formula, you can get this formula here. Okay. I wouldn't say memorize this formula in here. Okay. Because if you memorize, you might think of subtracting drawings here and adding additional capital. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Remember this one here, and then this one here. Assets equals liabilities per capital. Uh huh. Or you're saying that we use strictly this formula to get the profit. Mhm. Mm. No, don't do that, madam. You can do that. You eventually come to the correct answer because as you do that, when you add this and subtract this, then eventually you take it to subtract from closing capital. Eventually, you still be doing this, madam, in essence. No, no, just do it like this format so that get the proper marks because they'll expect you to put it like this. Yeah, just follow this format I'm showing you. Maybe if you've remained with 5 minutes, yes, you can do this. Pa pa pa, you get your answer fast. Okay. Yes, there's another question. No, I may have made all of these cross the equal sign so that profit remains by itself here. If you want to do that, it means the other way you can do it is you take profit over the equal sign and bring closing capital over the equal sign, but your profit will be negative, and then you need to make it positive by multiplying it by negative. But eventually your formula will still come back to this. Let me- Okay. Mm, okay. Okay. And I clearly understand your question. Yes. Your question is based on when making profit the subject of the formula. You were saying profit should go to the other side and closing capital should cross over the other side. Okay. Ye- Yes. So it becomes negative profit since it's crossed the other side. Negative profit equals opening capital plus additional capital minus drawings minus closing capital. Okay. So now, since profit is negative here, you have to make it positive. So it means you have to multiply it by -1, and you have to multiply all of these by -1. So when we multiply everything by -1, profit becomes positive. Okay. Opening capital becomes negative. Additional capital becomes negative. Drawings becomes positive, and closing capital becomes positive. But isn't it looking the same like this? Even here, the closing capital is positive. If you bring closing, if you rearrange, you say, okay, let me bring. Uh, so now, Mr. Twamp, have you seen that your method is a long cut? It's a long cut. Those drawings minus additional capital minus opening capital. Okay. The formula becomes the same. Okay. But you have to remember this, okay? In mathematics, when making the subject of the formula, okay, since profit here is positive, okay, don't take it anywhere. Just take this one that side, this one that side, and this one that side. And you get this formula here, which is fast and easy. So are we okay as the masses? Are we okay with this formula here? Let me go name by name. Mr. Kasono, number one, you haven't spoken. Mr. Kasono, are we okay with that? Okay, Mr. Clavel, yes. Madam Betha, Madam Elizabeth, Miss, Mr. Emmanuel, Madam Lillian, okay, Madam Juanita. No, we've come back to the introduction. This was what we started at the beginning. This is where we started from. Yes, this is where we started. So, as I said, rather than memorizing this formula in yellow here, rather than memorizing it, remember this formula here so that you can derive the formula in yellow. Okay, that way it's going to help you better. Okay, then for statement of affairs, it's this one here. Assets equals liability plus capital. You make capital the subject of the formula, becomes assets minus liability. Because this statement of affairs, as I've read, excuse me, it helps you get your opening and your closing capital. Okay. Yes. So we continue. We made the statement of affairs for the beginning of the year. All right. We've got our opening capital. Now we need to make our statement of affairs for the end of the year so that we get our closing capital. We get our total current assets. So 1,000 plus 2,100 plus 1,500, we get 4,600. Okay. Then we can get our total assets 4,600 plus 150, you get 4,100. 1,000, 4,100, 650, I mean. Yes, 4,600. These are our total assets. Any questions here? Oh, ish. Like I don't know addition. Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry about that, colleague. Sorry. 4,750. Yeah, yeah. Then you get your total current liabilities. Okay. 1,800 plus 1,200. You get 3,000. 4,007. So capital is assets minus liabilities. So 4,750 minus 3,000, 1,750. So our closing capital is 1,750. Okay, 1,750. Now, so that's that for the statement of affairs. Any questions before we proceed with? So if you hear statement of affairs, just know that you're trying to get your opening and closing capital. Okay. Then we can now get our profit. All right. We have our opening and closing capital, and we have drawings. Okay, because this is profit for the end of the year. So this man was withdrawing 500 quite on a monthly basis. Okay. So a year has got 12 months. So 500 times 12, 6,000. Okay. So we've got our opening capital, our closing capital, and the drawings. Okay. So to get our profit, remember we said closing capital 1,750, add drawings 6,000 here, 7,750 less opening capital. Opening capital was 2,650. So 7,750 minus 2,650, I believe we get 5,150. Mm-hmm. Today I'm off with my arithmetics and I had a long day, so please forgive me if I put wrong numbers there. Yes? So what is this formula saying here? And didn't we derive this together? And didn't we derive this together? Yes. Yes. So that's why we're adding drawings. Yes, Mr. Carson, I haven't heard his voice today. Yes. Any questions, colleagues, before I give you a question to try? Hmm. Okay, thank you. Mhm.